All right, ready to dive in. Today we're looking at online betting in the Philippines.
Sounds interesting.
And to guide us, we've got this website, betplace.us. They review and compare all these different betting sites.
Yeah, I was looking through it earlier, and I gotta say, they don't just list the sites, They actually try to explain what makes the Philippine market so different.
Okay, well, before we get into all that, just how big is online betting in the Philippines?
Massive.
Massive. How massive are we talking?
We're talking billions. Billions of dollars every year. And the crazy thing is, it's still growing.
Wow, billions.
Yeah, it's not just a couple people placing bets here and there. It's a whole industry, like a major part of entertainment over there.
I know it's popular, but billions, that's a whole other level.
Right. It makes sense, though, when you think about it.
Yeah.
You've got this strong culture of gambling in the Philippines that's been around forever. And then you add in all these online platforms, making it so easy and convenient to place bets.
Oh, so it's like taking something that's already popular and then just making it even more accessible.
Exactly. That's what's driving that growth.
Okay, well, one thing I kept seeing on betplace.us was this PAGCOR.
Ah, yes, PAGCOR.
Is that like the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation?
That's the one. They're basically the regulators for all this. They got to make sure everything's above board,
Oh, okay, so like a referee for the whole betting scene.
Perfect analogy. They license all the operators, make sure the games are fair, and they're really pushing for responsible gambling.
So it's not just, hey, go bet all your money. They actually want people to be safe about it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's even more important now with, all the mobile betting going on.
Oh, right, mobile betting, betplace.us is saying that's huge in the Philippines.
Oh, yeah. It's like everyone's got a mini casino in their pocket these days.
Seriously, it feels like everyone's glued to their phones anyway.
But these apps, they're not just basic betting anymore. I'm talking about apps like Betway, 1xBet, Melbet.
Yeah, I saw those names on the site.
They've got live betting, in-play analysis, features you wouldn't dream of in a regular, like, brick-and-mortar kind of setting.
Wow, so you could be like at a basketball game and bet on the next quarter's score right from your phone.
Yep. That kind of access, that immediacy, that's a big reason why the market's booming like it is.
Makes sense. Speaking of access, betplace.us mentioned a ton of ways to pay for bets.
Oh, yeah, it's not just cash under the table anymore.
Right, it's got to be more than that these days.
You've got credit cards, those e-wallets like Gcash, and even, believe it or not, cryptocurrencies are starting to pop up.
Crypto. For betting.
It's happening. The site really stresses using secure options, though, for obvious reasons.
Right, when there's that much money flying around, you got to be careful.
Exactly. That's where PAGCOR comes in, right? Making sure these platforms are legit and that your financial info is safe.
So it's like PAGCOR sets the rules, and the good platforms, they follow those rules to protect the users.
Exactly. It's a team effort, really.
It does seem like betplace.us is going for the full picture, not just a quick overview.
Definitely. They give you the context so you can make, smart choices about where you're putting your money.
And they list a whole bunch of sites too, right? Each one with its own, specialty.
For sure. You got 22bet, that's a big one. They've got, every sport under the sun you could think of.
Right, and then there's Melbet. I remember seeing that one. They're supposed to be super easy to use, right?
Exactly, super user-friendly. And then there's the big dog, 1xBet. They're huge globally. Huge following and some pretty wild bonuses, according to betplace.us.
Bonuses, oh yeah. They highlighted one from IvyBet that's pretty sweet. A welcome package up to 9,000 Philippine pesos just for signing up.
Wow, 9,000.
9,000, yeah.
That's a pretty nyananka change.
Yeah, definitely caught my eye.
It's a good reminder, though. These sites are businesses. They want your business. So you gotta, like betplace.us says, read the fine print.
Don't get blinded by those shiny bonuses.
Exactly. Always understand the terms and conditions. A good site's going to be upfront about how those bonuses work.
It sounds like to really navigate this world, you got to balance a lot of things. Like you have the excitement of the bets and those tempting bonuses, but you also have to stay informed and responsible.
You got it. That's the message betplace.us is putting out there. Enjoy the ride, but do it smart. Yeah, it's a whole new world, kind of like, learning a new game.
Right, you got to know the rules first.
Exactly, got to know what you're getting into. Speaking of rules, betplace.us actually goes into the whole history of betting in the Philippines. Pretty fascinating stuff.
Oh, yeah. What'd they say?
Well, did you know that, gambling has been a part of Filipino culture for centuries?
Really? Centuries? I had no idea.
It's true. They've always had these traditional card games, cockfighting, things like that.
Huh. So it's been ingrained in the culture for a long time.
Yeah, and then in the 1930s, you had, organized horse racing, which was often tied to charities.
Oh, interesting. So it wasn't always seen as like just a vice. It had a social side too.
Exactly. And then PAGCOR comes along in the 70s.
PAGCOR, that's the regulatory body we talked about earlier.
Yep, that's them. And that's when things really started to change. They brought casino under their wing, and that kind of set the stage for what we see today with these online platforms.
It's kind of cool how they've adapted over time.
And here's another interesting thing. While PAGCOR regulates the industry, a lot of the big sites Filipinos use are actually based outside the country.
What, really? So they're targeting a Filipino audience, but they're not even in the Philippines?
That's right. Shows you how global this whole online thing is.
But how does that work with PAGCOR then? If the sites aren't in the Philippines, how can they, enforce their rules?
That's a good question. The place.us didn't get into all the details on that, but they did mention that Filipinos often use VPNs to access sites that might be restricted.
So there's some tech workarounds going on.
Definitely. It's a whole other can of worms how VPNs and online gambling regulations intersect.
Maybe we'll do another deep dive on that sometime.
Sounds good. But for now, let's stick with what betplace.us does tell us. They lay out some key things to look for when choosing a betting site.
Okay, so like a checklist for picking a good site.
Exactly. And first and foremost, licensing is a must.
So whether it's PAGCOR or some other international body, they got to have that stamp of approval.
Yeah, it's like a seal of quality.
Makes sense.
And then user experience is huge. Is the site easy to use? Does it look good? Is it easy to navigate?
Yeah, nobody wants to use a clunky website, especially when there's real money involved.
Exactly. And then variety, a good site's going to have a ton of sports and betting markets to choose from. The more options, the better.
Like 22Bet, they had that huge sports coverage that betplace.us was talking about.
Yep, that's a good one. And then payment opt-ins. Gotta have secure and diverse options for getting your money in and out.
They mentioned cryptocurrency specifically, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely becoming more and more common these days.
Makes sense.
And in the online betting world, it offers some anonymity, which some people like.
Right, got to stay under the radar.
But, like with anything, there are risks. So betplace.us reminds you to do your research, understand what you're getting into.
So it's all about making informed choices.
Exactly, weighing the pros and cons and figuring out what's right for you. Now, betplace.us also gets into some of the features that these platforms offer, like live betting.
Oh yeah, live betting. I've heard about that.
It's super popular. It's like you're right there in the action, making bets as the game's going on.
Adds another layer of excitement, huh?
Big time. And it's not just for the serious bettors anymore. Even casual fans are getting into it, thanks to those mobile apps.
Yeah, so it's like they're catering to everyone, from the hardcore fan to the person who just wants to, add a little something extra to their viewing experience.
Yep, there's a little something for everyone. And then, of course, you've got those bonuses and promotions.
Ah, yes, those welcome packages and free bets, can't forget those.
They can be tempting, that's for sure, but betplace.us warns about getting too caught up in the hype.
Right, got to read the fine print.
Always. You got to know those wagering requirements. Don't let those shiny offers cloud your judgment.
So it's not about finding the biggest bonus, it's about finding the bonus that works for you.
Exactly. It all comes back to being an informed user. You're the one in control, making the choices.
Taking responsibility for your actions.
Exactly. Now, betplace.us also talks about the legal side of things. It's not a free-for-all out there.
Right, there are some rules.
Definitely. We talked about PAGCOR, but they also mentioned how the government's been cracking down on illegal gambling operations.
So there's a clear line between the legitimate sites and the shady ones.
Big time. And betplace.us reminds you to look for those signs of legitimacy, licensing, user review, a commitment to responsible gambling, all that stuff.
So it's like, have fun, enjoy the excitement, but do it safely.
Exactly. And with all this mobile betting going on, security is more important than ever.
Right, you're carrying all that sensitive info on your phone.
It's crazy how technology's changed this whole industry,
Yeah, we've gone from those casual games in the neighborhood to these, super sophisticated platforms you can access anywhere.
It's wild, and it's not stopping there. betplace.us mentions how Filipinos are branching out beyond traditional sports betting. Esports is blowing up, especially with the younger crowd.
Makes sense, esports is huge everywhere now.
It is, and betting platforms are following that trend, naturally.
That's a really dynamic industry, always adapting.
It is, shaped by technology, culture, regulation, all of it. You've got platforms catering to all kinds of users.
Bonuses and promotions to grab your attention, but also that message of responsibility running through it all.
Exactly. So let's say you're just getting started in this world. What are the key takeaways from betplace.us?
What should we keep in mind?
I'd say, number one, informed choice. Do your research, know the risks, don't just jump at the first offer you see.
Right, take your time, read the fine print.
Yep, find a platform that fits you. And number two, responsibility. Set limits, stick to your budget.
Don't chase those losses.
Right. Remember, it's supposed to be fun.
Like with anything, moderation is key.
Exactly. And lastly, this is an industry that's always changing. What we see today might be completely different tomorrow.
So I stay curious, stay informed.
That's the key. It's a fascinating world full of possibilities, but you got to navigate it wisely.
Sounds like betplace.us is a good place to start.
Definitely. They give you the information, the context, the guidance. They're like your one-stop shop for all things online betting in the Philippines.
Man, it feels like we've just scratched the surface. There's so much more to this whole online betting world.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's always changing. It's like every day there's something new. New technology, new trends. It's hard to keep up.
So, like, looking ahead, what do you think is the biggest question mark? What should people be watching out for?
Well, for me, I think it's going to be how they integrate all this new tech. I'm talking like virtual reality, augmented reality, stuff that could totally change how we experience online betting.
VR betting, huh? That sounds pretty wild.
Right. Imagine like you place a bet and then boom, you're suddenly right there at the game. Like you're actually in the stadium.
Whoa, that'd be insane.
Right. Like you're part of the action. And then you've got crypto too.
Crypto, yeah.
How much more are they going to integrate that into all this? Will we see more sites accepting it as payment? Will they use blockchain to make everything more transparent, more fair? It's hard to say, but it's definitely something to watch.
Yeah, it's like a whole new frontier opening up. But with all this innovation, I mean, how can we make sure that, responsible gambling keeps up?
That's the million-dollar question, and betplace.us actually touches on this. They say platforms need to really step up their game, implement better self-exclusion tools, really make sure people understand the risks involved. They even talked about using AI to identify potentially harmful betting patterns.
Oh, wow, AI for responsible gambling.
Yeah, it's getting pretty advanced.
So it's not just telling people to be responsible, it's like building it into the system.
Exactly. It's got to be a team effort, everyone working together, platforms, regulators, and the users themselves, to create a safe and fun environment.
At the end of the day, it's about balance, right? We want the excitement, the innovation, all that, but we can't forget about the risks.
Absolutely. And we can't forget the people involved either.
The human element.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the numbers, the odds, the money, all that. But there are real people behind all this, people who are passionate about these games, these teams, these athletes. That's what drives this whole industry.
It's about more than just winning or losing.
Exactly. There's a sense of community, of shared experience that goes beyond just the betting itself, and that's what makes it so interesting.
It sounds like betplace.us gave us a lot to think about.
Definitely. They laid out the map, but it's up to us to choose the path.
So to everyone listening out there, as you explore this world, remember to do your research, choose those platforms carefully, and most importantly, bet responsibly. The future of online betting is exciting, no doubt about it. But we all have a part to play in making sure it's safe and enjoyable for everyone.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive. We've gone deep into online betting in the Philippines with the help of betplace.us. We saw how it evolved, the challenges, the opportunities, and what the future might hold. Now it's your turn to explore.
And remember, have fun out there, and may the odds be ever in your favor.